morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. My name's Jade, and this is the interview. And today on the show, we have an amazing artist. I got to play with her at Kurt Fest, and she was amazing, and now she's coming on to Hero Music. Talk all about her. It's Mandy Prater. And this is one of her tracks called Keep Calm. That's huge.
Is now the time to run before we crawl? Maybe it's a time to pause or do nothing at all. Is now the time to say it's not enough? Keep playing the odds, keep testing the gods, but the beauty in waiting is a little more certainty. Keep calm, keep cool, my baby. Tough it out with me. We got the rest of our lives to run wild in the streets. For now, you're gonna sit there patiently. Is now the time to try to have it all? You gotta have probable cause or have a reason to call. Is now the time to try to raise the bar, to take it all the way? Can you love someone from afar? 'Cause what I'm anticipating is a little more certainty. Keep calm, keep cool, my baby. Stare down hell with me. We got the rest of our lives to run wild in the streets. For now, you're gonna sit there patiently, patiently, patiently.
Hey, what an awesome song, yeah? Hey, what's going on? What an awesome song! So that was Keep Calm by our wonderful guest today, Mandy Prater. How you all going in the chat? It's Friday morning here in Australia, Thursday for the rest of you. And as usual, big weekend coming up of entertainment here on this particular channel starting here. This is the kickoff of the weekend for me. You got a little bit longer to wait in the US and UK and the rest of the world who's living in the past. Deal with it. All right, so I just got a couple of announcements. You know the deal, folks, in the chat. I can see there's 27 of you. Thank you for joining us here live. And I do see some Mandalorians here as well, too. So welcome to you guys as well. I just got a couple of announcements I need to go through. So, yes, exciting stuff. Tomorrow, Walk With Me is back. And let me find the right thing. It's this one. There we go. Walk With Me is back. And this week I went to a place called Richmond and walked around this amazing suburb of Melbourne, got some amazing drone shots, had a bit of a chat, some microphone problems and a bunch of adventures. So tomorrow this premieres at this time here on the channel. This every week Walk With Me happens where I take you somewhere around Australia, walking, losing weight, talking and doing all that kind of stuff. So hopefully you can come and join us for that. Also this weekend, it's episode 3 of the Creative Hour, where you get to choose which song, which genre of music I have to make in 1 hour's time. Record, write and finish in an hour and get it done. So I think this week's genres are doom, thrash, country and hip hop. So you've got to pick one and I got to do it in an hour, or I get a bucket of slime dropped on me or something. I don't know, but whatever. All right. Did you know today's show is sponsored by our dear friends at DistroKid. DistroKid are amazing. Let me tell you about DistroKid. I've been using DistroKid since 2016. I swapped over from another company I was using. They were ripping me off. I was losing all this money and nobody was buying my music, and I decided to move to DistroKid. Why? Because they were cheap and I could release as much music as I want with no problem. And what do you know, years later they now sponsor this channel and they're sponsoring today's show. And if you'd like to release your music using DistroKid, you can do so for as little as $24.99 billed annually. And if you use my code to sign up, YouTube, was it distrokid.com/Jade Starr, VIP/Jade Starr, you will get 7% off your first year. There's a couple of tiers you can choose from here. You can see Musician Plus or Ultimate. I use the Ultimate because I have 6 bands and it's ridiculous. And you can release as much music as you like. But I will tell you more about DistroKid as we go on in the show. So thank you, DistroKid, for sponsoring the channel. I love you, DistroKid. Anyway, that's a secret relationship between me and DistroKid. So we're here and I'm yelling and I'm excited. I've got Mandy Prater on the show. Let's bring her on because she's super talented. I first, as I said in the beginning of the show, I first came across her at Camp G May's Kurt Fest. I'd heard her name around the traps, but I hadn't really sat down and listened to her. She came on. I was nervously waiting for my act. She came on and she calmed my nerves, because she's that good. So I went and subbed straight away. And she's been on my radar ever since to get her on the show. Why? Because she's just got the most beautiful voice and is one of the most hardworking musicians I've seen around this community. So without further ado, let's get her on here. Let's unmute her mic, get the crowd ready. You ready? Let's bring on, it's Mandy Prater. Hello.
Hi.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for that very kind introduction.
It's true. It's true. It is what it is. I remember watching you just going, oh man, how am I going to follow this?
Oh, well, that's so cool. We were both playing and I see Gary's in the crowd. Our friend Chad's in the crowd.
Yeah. We're all a little bit incestuous.
That do these great music festivals and lineups on YouTube. Really fun. So yeah, great to see everybody, and the Mandalorians here as well. Hi, guys.
Yeah, we got a few of them here. So firstly, thank you for coming on. I know you're very, very busy. I mean, we're all busy and you stream and do so much work. So I've been following you a lot since then and watch you on Twitch occasionally and see that you work really hard. But what I really want to know is the first question that I ask everybody here is, Mandy Prater, what does music mean to you?
Music to me is about connection, connecting with other people, connecting to your feelings and to yourself. I think music helps us understand ourselves better, process our feelings. And to me, it's just been essential in my life to, both in good times and bad times.
Has there been a time where you would say music has gotten you through a really tough time or a really, really good time? It accentuated, or both?
Absolutely.
Can you think of an example?
Well, I can think of one for both. A good example of a good time is, driving home after a gig. You're kind of on a high you crank up the stereo and it kind of accentuates the moment, elongates that little buzz that you might have from performing and just keeps the night on a high note. And on the other hand, as a kid, if times were rough or I was, sad over something, I would just bury myself in music. I'd just go in my room and, turn on a CD or the stereo or the radio or play my guitar and just kind of would immerse myself in that. And I think for me, I believe that music is healing and it's emotionally regulating. There's studies about, rhythms and how that can help you bring your emotions, into control or, calm. Like you said, listening to music can calm you. And I think that's really magical too.
It's interesting music because, like, as musicians, like, I often try and take myself out of the musician body and try and just put it into the listener's body. And it's impossible because I'm such a nitpick every single thing of my own stuff before anyone else, So
Yeah.
it's really hard I feel sometimes that I've been ripped off being a musician, that I just don't get to listen to music objectively and go, oh, wow, that got me through this
As
moment. Yeah, but instead we're constantly trying to manifest stuff out of our perceived existence. Do,
yeah.
do you ever get stuck on not being able to write? Like currently I'm going through one at the moment, unable to write anything. Every time I try and write, it just doesn't work. And I'm sure you've faced it, most musicians do. What do you do in those circumstances when you can't write?
Well, I guess mostly I don't force it. And there was a time where before the pandemic and leading into the pandemic, I had joined this songwriting group and we had very strict rules. If you didn't submit a song every 2 weeks, we had a deadline Tuesday nights at midnight, you were out of the group.
Oh, wow.
So, and the guy who ran it would give a prompt or a topic or a vibe or a set of words that we had to use in our song. And so it kind of helped to have a starting point, but also it sometimes if it was one I didn't really connect with, it made it hard. So, I would just do my best. And sometimes they were, you know, not great, but I just went ahead and did it. I mean, I wonder if it's the same for you sometimes on your 1 hour challenge
Well,
where,
well, that's only just started. This is only my third one, and I'm doing it to
oh,
try and
really?
help me
Oh,
like get writing again. That's the reason
oh,
behind
that's
it.
cool. Okay, that makes sense. So,
You try anything.
yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, I haven't been writing much in the past few years. I think being on Twitch and doing the schedule that I have on there, plus my live gigs, and on Twitch, especially since I've went from just playing straight up covers on acoustic guitar to building loops live and coming up with mashups and stuff, it is still kind of in creative mode. And I don't want to say it drains all the creativity out of me, but I think I feel maybe it's a different way that I'm channeling my creativity versus writing a whole song. So, but yeah, I would, for me, I think a lot of my songs that I've written have been part of a particular emotional event that happened or some particular inspiration that came along. And so it's kind of hard for me to just write to spec, but
Yeah.
I know that's songwriting is its own skill and talent.
Well, yeah, we're not machines. We're not audio,
Yeah,
and we're not.
right.
So you just can't give us a. Well, you can because the prompting has been around for ages. I'm a part of a songwriters group that does prompting once a month as well, and I've never entered one because I don't know. I don't like being forced to write music. It's got to
Yeah,
happen. When
exactly.
you can hear when something's forced for yourself. I'm not talking about other people. It's impossible. But you know it. You put something out, and but something I want to touch on, talking about Twitch, which we'll get into later. But being a content creator, and a musician, they're two different things. Yeah. So I never realized when I started doing this full time just how much time this would take. And it's not just this. This is the fun bit, being on the camera and
Right.
dancing around. It's all the
Yeah.
it's all the background stuff, the emails, and just all the stuff that you got to focus and have ready. And then by the time I find you start to write, it's like, "Ah, I'm just too tired."
Yeah.
And Twitch is like, for those who don't know what Twitch is, if what planet are you from? But very similar to YouTube. Started as a gaming channel, and now it's like very broad politics, music, spa bars, everything you can imagine over there at Twitch.
Yeah.
But it's like YouTube, because you're only as relevant as much stuff as you put out. Do you find the grind on Twitch to be, in your words, how is the grinding on Twitch?
I mean, I first of all, I love it. It's one of the best things that ever happened to my musical career, so I have to start with that. I have a wonderful community over there. They've supported me almost more than any other time in my life, as far as feeling the support for my song releases, for my live streams, even for my gigs. But it can be a bit of a hamster wheel,
Yeah.
and I've kept the same regular schedule for about 4 years now,
Same
mostly.
here.
And so, as you know, it can get a little bit Groundhog Day. So for myself and also for my viewers, we're always looking for ways to spice up the streams and keep things fresh, as far as adding new songs, adding new segments or new rewards, and different things, and new types of content whenever possible, to kind of like keep it interesting and keep it new for the ones that have been around for years now, you know.
It's
So,
it's a hard balance act, isn't it? Because
yeah.
we're creatures of habit, and you find some content creator you like, and you fall into this group of people, and you're there, and you love everything, and then it changes, and you're like, but I want the clouds back. So
Yeah.
you've got to
Yeah.
take risks, and I try and do it all the time. It's one of the reasons I started the creative hour on the weekend. I was doing the opening hour for 3 years, where I just sing each week. But each week I kept having to come up with, themes and topics and originals and covers this week. And 3 years of it, you're just like, oh, I'm tired of it.
Yeah.
Let's just make a
Yeah.
song. And, you guys pick. And if I screw up, I can blame the people who picked the song. So it makes
Yeah.
it easy. And it's less work, but it looks like it's more. But anyway, let's move forward. So the way it works here, I normally say hello to everybody in the chat after our second song. So I'm going to hit you with this one. Do you remember the music that was played in your household of your family when you were young? And who were some of those artists, and do they haunt you, or have they contributed to your style today?
I think they mostly have contributed. Some of them, like Michael Bolton, might haunt me a little bit, but which, by the way, hugs, love out to Michael Bolton. I've heard that he has a serious illness, so
No
I'm not trying to
way.
poke fun. Yeah, some kind of brain cancer or something. So sad to hear that. But anyway, not to bring everybody down,
Oh,
but
wow, he is too.
my mom was a big Michael Bolton fan, but also my mom was a big soul and pop fan, like Whitney Houston, Aretha Franklin, and my parents would play, the good classic rock stuff like AC/DC or Journey, CCR. U2 was really big. Bon Jovi was really big growing up as a youngster, and the Police. So I feel like mostly I feel very lucky for the most of the music I got to listen to growing up, thanks to my parents. I don't have too many complaints. So it definitely did shape me. I still play and cover most of those bands on my live stream, where people can request, from my list of songs. So.
Do you have a big list of songs? Do you know the number?
It's over 400, I think.
Wow.
I'm not sure if that includes the karaoke playlist. But yeah, and a lot of that were songs recommended by viewers when they could either, donate and I would learn a song, or sometimes if we had, a lot of people, we'd vote on choosing a new song for me to learn. And so a lot of those have come from viewer suggestions. And, if they vibe with my style, I'll try it. If not, I'll say, nothing personal, try again. Give me another idea,
Lick it off
So,
and try again.
yeah, but it's been a collaborative effort building my current song list that I have for Twitch. So many dozens of people have suggested great songs that I've learned. So, yeah.
And you gotta listen to your community. That is the way
Yeah,
it is.
absolutely.
They are a part with you. And do you remember the first album that you purchased with little Mandy Prater's pocket money? And the first one that was given to you as a gift?
The first one I can think of that I still have it, and it actually was an album on vinyl.
Nice.
I have Bad by Michael Jackson.
Oh, wow.
That might have been the first one I was given. I think the first thing I ever bought with my own money, music wise, like at Walmart in the tape section, was the single of Red Hot Chili Peppers, Under the Bridge.
Oh, great song.
I really liked that song, and I just bought, because it was like 99 cents. You could buy like the single on cassette. So I still have that too.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
So you're giving away your age now.
I know. I was 2 years old at the time.
See, this is...
I couldn't reach the show.
Right, all right, there we go. But that's my sneaky way of trying to ask, so how old are you?
Yeah.
And it's not really.
Yeah.
I think it's funny anyway. So,
Yeah.
Michael Jackson's Bad. I remember when that came out. What a tough... I'm pretty sure that was a follow-up to Thriller. I'm pretty sure it was.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think.
what a tough follow-up because, that's the album that...
One of the biggest albums of all time.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I remember when I first saw it, I was like, I didn't know about Michael Jackson trying to look tough.
Yeah. I didn't even think about that, but you're right. It's interesting.
And then he talks in the video clip and he's just saying, I'm like, hang on a minute.
Hi. Yeah.
Tito, stop teasing. Like, I don't know. But Red Hot Chili Peppers, are you a big fan of Red Hot Chili Peppers still?
I'm a pretty big fan. I mean, I kind of started at Blood Sugar Sex Magic and went from there.
Yep.
And I really like their 90s albums the best.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's the best album.
Yeah, but Blood Sugar Sex Magic and Californication are probably my favorites, and I listened to One Hot Minute a lot too back in the day.
Yeah.
But Chili Peppers. I got to see them once. Actually, this was one of the saddest moments of my life. I was in college. They were on tour. I went to go see them. They opened for Foo Fighters, so it was a really, really cool show. And I was a bass player in a band at the time. While my friends and I had the cheap tickets, it was an outdoor concert. We were on the lawn, and there was an amphitheater, which was the expensive seats. On stage, Anthony asked for, are any girls out there a bass player and want to come play bass with us? And I was like, oh my God. I even had brought a pick. I don't know why. I had a pick in my pocket because I was like, I'm going, you guys. I'm going up there. I take off running towards the stage. Nobody's going up. I figured there'd be 5 people want to go up on stage to play bass with the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Seriously. So I run to the stage, and there's people in security keeping the riffraff out of the expensive seats. And they wouldn't let me through. I tried 3 or 4 different people. And I was like, no, I showed them my pick. I'm like, I'm a bass player. I want to go up. They just asked for people to come up on stage. They would not let me through. I was like, are you kidding me? To this day, I wish I would have bribed somebody or something. Because a minute or two later, they were like, well, okay, I guess nobody's coming up.
Oh, that sucks.
Never mind. And it was like, I'm over here, and I was like, maybe if they see me, but so that was to that point, one of the saddest days of my life. Aww. Even though I did enjoy the show. It was a great show. Both bands were awesome. Taylor came out from behind the drums and sang "Have a Cigar" while Dave got on the drums and played, and everybody went wild for Dave playing the drums. And both of the band's shows were great, but I still remember that as like just this moment of injustice. Yeah.
Well, it's I've seen Chili Peppers, I think 3 times. 3 times, yeah. I think I saw them on Blood Sugar Sex Magic, which sucked because they just released the album, and John Frusciante left, their guitarist, and they had Arik on guitar, and he messed up the solo in Under the Bridge. It was like their biggest song. It's like, how can you mess that song up, dude? Like, anyway,
yeah,
these things happen.
Like
that's life.
Like that's something that people know, and they're going to notice it's wrong.
Yeah, and people are already disappointed because they'd already bought tickets, and then John leaves. But John's heroin addiction was always a problem. Where are we now? Do you remember your first live gig? Big arena stadium, not like a pub or anything like that. Do you remember that?
Yeah. So I was in this band called The Misses. It's an all-female rock band here in Austin. And we actually did a couple bigger shows. But the biggest one I think that we played was at this arena here just north of town. It's like a arena where like a ice hockey team plays. And we opened for a country singer, even though we weren't a country band. But that was pretty cool, just, playing on that big of a stage and seeing that big of a crowd out in front of you.
We're going to play a track and then come back and say hello to all these fine folk here. This is called You're No Good For Me. Tell us a little bit about this one before we bang it through.
This was a COVID era song, and it was inspired, as was Keep Calm, as was On the Outside. But it was inspired by seeing all these posts and people talking about people trying to reconnect with their exes, or having exes and former flings reconnect during COVID because everybody was lonely and stuck in their houses at home. and like I had some random friends, talking about how, that was happening to them. And I was like, and they were just talking about like, oh, I'm not going there again with that guy or whatever it was. And just like, oh no, you don't text me after not talking to me for 8 months and cause you're lonely and you want to hook up. Like, no, thank you. Yeah. So it was kind of about that. And it was kind of also just about any relationship or any person in your life that you're just kind of like, you know what, I need to like step away from this a little bit. It's not healthy for me, so anybody could relate to it, I think.
Nothing worse than poisonous people. So let's do it. You ready, folks? This is called You're No Good For Me. Chill, grab a drink, do whatever you do, and we'll see you back here shortly. Let's Oge, baby.
Saw you across the room. You caught me looking at you. This no contact rule is so hard to do, but I'm not about to restart the clock, 'cause I've had plenty of time to stop and take stock. You're no good for me, baby. It's the same old story. You're no good for me, baby. Quite honestly, you bore me. You're no good for me. You're no good for me. After I never heard back from you, I get a DM asking for nudes. It came off pretty rude. I thought you weren't that kind of dude. So I'm not about to restart the clock, 'cause I've had plenty of time to stop and take stock. You're no good for me, baby. It's the same old story. You're no good for me, baby. Quite honestly, you bore baby. It's the same old story. You're no good for me, baby. Quite honestly, you bore me. You're no good for me, baby. It's the same old story. You're no good for me, baby. Quite honestly, you bore me. You're no good for 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 me.
Yeah. Hey. What's going on? I hit the wrong button. Hey. Now I do swear on here occasionally, so I do warn you of that. What a fucking great song. There's something that, like, I've been watching you for a while now, and look, I'm a vocalist. I teach vocals myself. I've been doing it for years. You have such a strong voice, and every time I see you perform live on Twitch, very rarely do I hear you mess up a song. Like, you got such a very
Oh,
strong
thanks.
voice, and it's so rich and inviting and very warm vocal. You know, it's this, which leads us here. Well, before I get to this question, I've got to do some hellos. So thank you first, Lisa RS Art, for the very kind donation of $9.99. Thank you, Camp Gmay, so much. You rock, Gmay. You're a legend. Gmay's got another festival coming up this weekend, and I should say hello to everybody who's here. So, folks, help me out here. Type something, anything, nonsense, whatever you want, just so I can find you in the chat and put your comment up on the screen, because we're doing shout-outs. Let's do it. And I'm going to start with this one.
Yay.
Kim Harden Hudson. Baby, where have you been? Last week, your music was featured on Walk With Me, Kim Harden Hudson. So love you lots. Good to see you. Hugh Caldwell's in the house. Chad Freeman's here, frothing at the mouth because I know he loves you. Lisa RS Art, another Mandalorian. Ali, one of our great mods. We've got, who else? Mix Club says balls because he always says balls. Uncle L56, Shelley Michelle Morrison. We've got Tremor Bear, Studio 6+1. We've got Joe and Barry Glenn. Let me go up here. Pinkish Floyd. Leela says yay. We've got Towards Nights. Who else? Barry Glenn. Mr. J's in the house. I could do with smoking one of those right now. Who else? Songs from the Rua Room. And I'm trying to get you all. I hate missing people out. Oh, look, Mandy Prater's in the chat. Wow. Here we go. I can't go up any higher there.
I see it. Ale Gratia.
Yes, Ali. Ali's here.
Ali.
Leela, one of our great mods, is here as well, too. I think I got you. I think I got most of you. I'll catch up. Hey, Thomas Duran, thank you for being here. Mateusz Brakowski, Joel Crouch, g'day. And if I have missed you, what will happen? I'll do another shout out later on. We'll try and catch you up. All right. Now, I did have a question. Oh, that's right. Because I said your voice is so rich and so beautiful. Music lessons. Here in Australia, we have a very robust school system where music is a part of most schools, public and private schools. Is it the same where you are in Texas? Did you have a school system where you were able to flourish your music and your practice? And were you forced to play the recorder?
Well, first of all, no offense to Texas. I love living in Austin, but luckily for me, I did not experience the Texas public school system.
Right.
I grew up and went to school in northeastern Indiana, which is a smaller state further north in the US.
I know it. I used to live in the US.
Midwest.
Yeah, I know it.
Okay. So I grew up in a small town. We did have music class in every grade, in elementary school. Then in middle school and high school, you could choose, music or art or whatever. So in middle school and high school, I took choir, and I did have a very good choir teacher that really put a lot of effort into teaching us proper techniques, and you know, I was in different choirs and stuff with her through her from 7th to 11th grade. Um, so that was my main vocal training until many years later, um, where I studied with a vocal coach. I'm blanking on her name right now. When I was in the band The Misses, I studied with a vocal coach, and so she kind of helped me just refresh on and learn some new techniques, and helped me work on my vibrato and a few different things that have helped me since then. So yeah, and then I really feel that my persistent schedule on Twitch and singing in a quieter environment here in my home studio instead of on stage with a loud band has helped me with my pitch and helped me to hear myself better and develop some healthier singing techniques than when I was trying to compete with a full band on stage and sometimes couldn't hear myself, and I was going home hoarse and hurting myself probably.
Yeah, it's such a different scenario playing with a band, isn't it?
Yeah, which it's really fun.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had so many fun memories and so many fun experiences playing with bands since I started my first band in 8th grade with my best friend when we first picked up instruments. Ever since then, it's been the center of my social circle if I was in a band, and you know, where I like to spend my free time playing music, and now as a job, you know. Um, I did learn the recorder in 5th grade. I think the only things we got to play was like Mary Had a Little Lamb and
Yeah.
The Lion Sleeps Tonight or something like that. But
It's such a weird universal thing that we've adapted. You know, it's like, "Hey,
yeah,
everyone, welcome to the first music class of grade 5.
yeah.
Here's a wooden thing that
Yes,
you'll never
yeah,
play for the rest of your life." Sorry to any
yeah.
recorder aficionados out there. Is it a thing? I don't know.
Yeah.
So, music lessons are a thing, and it shows. So, like, you can tell you've had lessons now. You know, I don't think people need lessons. Do you think so? I think you know, sometimes. I mean, some lessons can help, but sometimes if we force people to take lessons, we wouldn't have had Kurt Cobain.
Right. I mean, I think for me it was very helpful getting started
Sure.
with getting started with guitar. Like my dad had a guitar. I picked it up, tried to play. I even looked there was a chord diagram. I tried to figure out, I could not make a sound come out of that thing, and nobody showed me how. But
Yeah.
as soon as somebody did, then I was like, oh, okay, wow, my fingers hurt, but okay, I'll keep trying, you know? And then 10 years later, I took some drumming lessons for a little while I was living in New Orleans, and learned how to play a drum set. And the teacher was like, "You're one of the quickest students I've ever taught." And I was like, "Wow, thank you." Um, but that's all I needed was I think I probably did like 6 or 8 lessons with him, and then I kind of got to the point where you can do your independent limb independence. They try to teach you how to, you know, move different things together and how it all weaves together. And once you have that, then you can kind of use those building blocks. And if you're a motivated, self-taught kind of person,
Well,
you
that's the
know.
thing, isn't it?
But
Motivation. You know, practice
yeah,
makes progress, as Pete John says.
yeah, yeah. So
So you said you had a first band. How how old, and did you play a gig? And what was the first gig you did as an actual band?
oh man. Yeah, so we started this band. I started playing guitar in 8th grade, summer going into 8th grade. So I was like 13, and my one of my best friends, her mom had been a bass player. So we decided to start a band. She let her use her bass, and then she ended up getting her own bass. And so that following summer, uh I think we played our first gig was a 13th birthday party for a younger kid
Nice.
uh, at the Glassworkers Union Hall. And I don't think we got paid, But
I'm not shocked at that.
it was a gig to us because we got to play in front of people, at an actual party with actual audience. So yeah,
Well, not
those were
getting paid is a good thing because it helps you get ready for the rest of your musical career.
right. Yeah, totally. Sets expectations early.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. On my walk I did that's premiering tomorrow, I went to one of the first venues that my band first played when I was like, I don't know, 19. And
Oh wow.
I went into the venue and it's all changed now. And I told the story how the guy promised us $200 and we played the gig. And at the end, he was like, sorry, I don't have the money. I was like, what? But he goes, but don't worry, I've got something else. And he handed us a sheet of LSD trips. And it was like, what? So now we've got to go out and sell these.
Right.
And
yeah, did he think maybe he thought he was going to sell them by the time the gig was over and he could pay you?
I don't know, but
that's crazy.
And it's the worst thing to hand over to a bunch of 19-year-olds who are
Yeah.
like, really? Drugs? Yay, let's just eat them all. But
yeah,
that's the industry. That's how it was, and you wouldn't get paid, and you've got to love it. But over time, you do get paid. So it's are you looking at me like, do I?
I mean, if you're lucky enough or you're persistent enough, I still don't take it for granted that I get to make my living playing music. I'm super grateful for that. So yeah, it is but it does seem kind of rare sometimes.
Towards Night says,
if you're not a mega star.
Yeah, Towards Night says, what's that guy's number? Asking for a friend. Well, everybody, we found the person who's into LSD, so that's cool. Well, you do you, boo. That's what it's all about. So we get into we're talking about live performance because you do a lot of live performance, and one of the things, it's part of the reason I have this thumbnail and use the words musical connections, because you play at an airport, don't you?
Yeah, I've been doing these gigs at the airport. They hire Austin musicians to come in, and they've contracted or coordinated with the cafes and bars in the airport, and they schedule people to come play. And yeah, it's an interesting place to meet new fans. In fact, one of the people that has tuned in here saw me at one of those airport gigs and became a supporter and fan of mine. So, you never know where you're gonna, it's good exposure to people from all over the place.
Yeah,
so.
That's what I was just thinking. You've got a worldwide stage of people entering and leaving the country. And I mean, I hate airports. I like going there to meet people, to pick people up. I hate saying goodbye to people at airports. It just ruins me. But if I was leaving the airport and as I was walking out, crying my eyes out, and I walked past Mandy Prater, I think it'd be a lot easier. I'd probably sit down and go, oh, I feel better. So that's really cool that they pay to do that, because I just assumed that it was a busking thing, that you had a permit and rolled up and you had to battle all that bullshit that goes down with busking.
Yeah, no, they give us a visitor badge. It's a little bit of a hassle getting in and out. You still have to go through security with your guitar and get it scanned, and you have to go down to the office and get a visitor badge so it's a little bit of work to do it, but that they coordinate that for us, so we just have to show up at the appointed time. But yeah, I've gotten I'll put my tip links up, and people will send me Venmos and stuff too, and I'll get some really sweet messages sometimes from people like, you made my day, thanks for helping me, I get nervous at the airport, and stuff like that. Like the music helps people take their mind off of their anxiety about their upcoming flight or their boredom for their layover, or whatever. So it's kind of a cool idea. Whoever came up with it, I want a tip of the hat to them.
Yeah, I think it's brilliant. Like Mix Club says here, great place for contacts. You never know. You probably got more chance getting noticed by somebody who has connections at an airport than actually at a gig these days, because people people with money travel a lot. So
Yeah, absolutely.
I find it fascinating because I was a busker for many, many years, and it's probably still even after touring overseas and all the band stuff I've done, I still think busking has made me the most money ever because and I think it's the unpredictability. I'm assuming you have a case out and you're collecting money, not only like real cash as well as Venmo and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I wish I had
Yeah.
that then and the reason I got out of it was because money started drying up. Not so much people didn't have the money, but less people carry coins around.
Yeah.
How has that impacted what you do out there in the airport?
It's interesting because once I started giving them the option and posting it where people could see it, like sometimes I get 25 to 50% of my tips that way at those live gigs. So if you don't do it, you're leaving money on the table.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So now, and what I do on Twitch is kind of almost like electronic busking from home. I don't charge admission to my streams. There's no tickets. I mean, people can get perks if they contribute, but anybody can come watch for free, but people will give, the equivalent of $1 or $5 or $20, if they're enjoying the show.
Have you
So
had
it's kind of
any?
like busking online.
It is, yeah, yeah, and that's why I look at it when I perform on here too. It's
Yeah.
strange though because you're in a room essentially, and after a song there's just silence for us.
Yeah.
That's why I have buttons on my thing. So when I finish a song, just streaming, it feels like there's an audience because really, I mean, it's so strange. Even when I tell people, somebody asks me, "Oh, what do you do for a living?" I say, "I'm a YouTube live streamer." And then they go, "Oh, yeah, what's that involved?" And it says, "Well, it's me sitting in my own room by myself talking to nobody." And if people people are watching, but it feels like I'm in an insane asylum just talking to myself every day in front of a box. So weird.
Yeah. Yeah.
Has there been any odd things that have gone down at the airport? Because that's the thing about busking. You don't know who's coming around that corner and who's going to be the next person
Right.
to interact with
Right.
you and what's going on in their life. Has there been any moments where you maybe were a little bit scared of somebody or they kind of freaked you out a little bit?
Well, there was one thing that happened that I don't remember being scared, but there was one thing that happened where a guy put a piece of paper in my tip jar.
Uh-oh.
And I'm streaming this live as well, like I'm live streaming to YouTube from the airport as well. And so I've got some people there watching and I'm like, what do you guys think? Should I open the note? You guys want to look at the note? And so I held the note up to the camera, but I think it was just like,
Uh-oh.
here's my name, call me. And I'm like, I know who it was that put the note in there, but it's like, I don't know you. Like, why am I just going to call this phone number? Like, there was no explanation. I mean, if it had been like, hey, I want to book you for a gig at this resort or something, I'd be like, fine, cool, put a note in my tip jar, but it's just like, I've had a couple like notes in the tip jar, but that's kind of the weirdest thing that's really happened there.
It does seem a little like lovey-dovey, like, hey, I want to get to know you a little bit more.
Yeah. But
and it's like, just because I'm standing here with a guitar singing doesn't mean I'm looking for love.
Right. Yeah.
People assume. They assume so much.
People project their emotions onto you too, like if that's what they're looking for, then everything they see is like a sign to them. Like if I was playing his favorite song, maybe, who knows why, but.
Well, touch wood that you never have any horrible experiences. The most horrible one I had was because I used to do it in a train tunnel at a train station here in Melbourne.
Cool.
And nice acoustics. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
But the problem was I'd do it on a Friday and Saturday night for 3 hours and you got all the football crowd coming through and people are drunk.
Oh,
and then once that dies, then you've got people loitering because a lot of people who are homeless and stuff would see how much money you're making. and then they'd come down and start casing me while I'm playing.
Oh,
There's
geez.
two dudes, one on each side with hoods over their head, and I'm like, well, we know where this is going.
Oh,
And
no.
yeah, one of them started talking to me while the other one was getting ready to grab my case. And in my pocket, I had my hands on a pair of pliers ready to go. And it went down. It
Man.
went down. This guy grabbed me. The other guy grabbed the case and started to run with it. There was probably about $200 in the case.
Oh my God.
And just luckily for me, there was a big Samoan guy at the top of the staircase who clotheslined the guy with the case.
Nice.
And money went everywhere. And,
Oh
but,
no.
But this is the thing, like people still surprise you, because people were all picking up the money and putting it all in the case for me. And
Aw.
it's so
That's good.
to know there are those moments where you go, oh, well, people aren't dicks after all.
Yeah, that's nice that they didn't just start stuffing it in their own pockets and running away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So have you ever had a really big note? I love this. What's put in your case? A big donation.
I know I've gotten, I have had a $50 or $100 bill before. Yeah. And that happens on my Twitch streams, with relative frequency, but live, that's a bigger deal, especially playing solo. And especially like a couple times I'm playing somewhere, I look in my tip jar, I don't feel like I'm making much money. And then some random guy comes up and just like, I really like what you're doing. Keep at it. And like throws $100 bill in there. And it's like, okay, like my day's saved now.
It's a bizarre feeling, is it? Because at the same time you're going, oh my God, I can eat. But at the same time you've got that, oh no, that's way too much. You should know. And so many times that's happened.
Yeah.
Like, I remember this old lady putting $100 in. She'd been watching me for ages. And I was just like, no, you can't put $100 in. She goes, don't you tell me what I can put in.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
have a thing I do. I have a thing I do sometimes on my Twitch channel. If I start to feel a little guilty, but it's also a bit of a badge of honor for some of the Twitch members. I'll tell them they're grounded.
All right.
If they give too much, like if they've given like over equivalent of a couple $100 or something at once, I'll be like, you're grounded. No more, put your credit card away. And it's kind of like a little bit of a bragging thing for them as well. But it's like, I genuinely do start to feel a little bad sometimes. And I'm like, okay, maybe we're just getting carried away in the moment, but I don't want them to regret it afterwards either, So
it's a tough one, isn't it? Because the world's spiraling out of crazy control at the moment, and everybody's doing it hard, and tariffs are coming in, and everything's going to be a lot more expensive for everybody soon.
Yeah,
so nobody needs any more pressure, and you're just performing and trying to bring some joy to people.
Yes, absolutely.
Let's pick a song. I'm going to pick. Let's pick this one. On the Outside. We'll play this, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about it then. So buckle up, folks. Let's do this. This is On the Outside by Mandy Prater. You ready to Oge? We're going to Oge right now. Let's Boge.
No bars on these windows, but I've been locked away. And I just had this feeling I need to escape. I don't know if there's something wrong, but nothing's really right. And I just had this feeling I need to escape. 'Cause I just wanna run where I don't have to hide. Get into the sun, meet me on the outside before I come undone. I wanna take a ride, we already won. Meet me on the outside, I just wanna run, I don't have to hide. Get into the sun, meet me on the outside before I come undone. I wanna take a ride, we already won. You can meet me on the outside. Meet me on the outside. Meet me on the outside. Meet me on the outside.
Mandy Prater, On the Outside. What an awesome song. We'll come back and talk about it in a moment, my friends, but I need to let you know a couple of things. Firstly, this wonderful person, Lisa, has donated again, $2.99. But thank you so much. But we are going to mention our sponsor for today, which is DistroKid, and I'm going to let my little ad do its thing, and we'll be back here in a moment. Let's do it. This presentation is proudly sponsored by DistroKid. Introducing DistroKid, your ultimate music distribution solution. For just $29.99 a year, DistroKid empowers you to release unlimited tracks on all major music platforms worldwide, including Spotify, Apple Music, TikTok, and so many more. Plus, use my link distrokid.com/VIP/Jade and get 7% off your first year. You'll also keep 100% of your royalties and gain access to valuable tools like instant verification on Spotify and detailed revenue analytics. Don't let your music go unheard. Join DistroKid today and take your music career to the next level. Thank you, DistroKid, for sponsoring today's presentation. Yes, indeed. Thank you very much, DistroKid. And you know the deal. I love DistroKid. Anyway, that's weird, and I'm sorry. But we have to do it because I have a weird relationship with DistroKid. Just me and DistroKid. Mainly me and DistroKid. Welcome back, Mandy. So that song, beautifully produced, really beautifully produced. I'll get into asking you where you record and all that stuff very soon, but I want to talk about this particular topic because I think it affected a lot of us in many different ways. The inconvenience, aka the lockdown. So now first, let me premise, horrible time in humanity because we lost so many people. That's the thing I think people forget. We lost a lot of people. Nearly everybody walking this earth got touched by this and lost somebody somehow in no matter how many lines down, but it affected us and it affected our psyche being locked down. And maybe we can say that even all of that has probably caused some of the nonsense that's going on in the world today where people aren't thinking properly. We're a little bit brain broken. How did you cope during the inconvenience and how did it help you with making music?
Well, yeah, it was hard at first. I think, we in Texas, our lockdown was relatively short.
Yes.
But I continued to voluntarily lock myself down for several months after we were allowed to move about the state. But I think the uncertainty of not knowing how long, I think that for most of us, we probably didn't think it was going to be as long as it lasted. It's hard to know, but so for me, I kind of regretted not taking advantage of that time better because I was just sitting there thinking, any day now this is going to be over, or this will probably be over in a week or two, or so I didn't start off changing my life around. I kind of just looked at it as like a little bit of a time off, a long spring break or something. But my band quit rehearsing and all the gigs got canceled. And, I had already been live streaming a little bit weekly before the pandemic started, but when the pandemic when lockdown was happening and all of that, I started doing more live streaming. And eventually, about 3 months into it, I joined Twitch and started streaming on there in late summer of 2020. And so, I was doing that. I was still writing songs in the songwriting group, but it was different because I had been mainly working as a performing musician and playing with my band, The Misses, and all of that went away. So I had a big transition career-wise right during that time where I transitioned to mainly performing online.
It was very strange. Here in Australia, particularly Melbourne, where I am, they locked us down for 9 months.
Wow.
9 months.
Yeah.
It was a long time. In fact, and a lot of other states here in Australia had opened, but they kept us locked down further.
Yeah.
The one good thing out of it was our government gave most of us money fortnightly. Even people who had
Oh,
businesses, they were paying people's businesses. They were giving out, they were
wow.
paying us. And
That's great.
the government here opened up to Australians so we could take money out of our, I think you call it 501, 401k or whatever, our retirement. They let us withdraw money from our retirement fund, which was
That's good.
awesome. It allowed me to build a studio because I was in the same boat as you. What are we going to do? What are we going to do for music? Like I can't go
Yeah.
out to gigs, can't play gigs.
Yeah.
And thankfully we have this. And now and there was a huge upturn, I'm sure, with Twitch. People were just sucking that stuff down and YouTube was going off. And I think for a lot of people, it was a reset and it helped a lot of people who may be struggling get a little bit more on top, where people who were doing okay weren't as much anymore. It feels
Yeah.
like it kind of balanced things out a little bit more. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's an interesting time to be able to talk about, I think, with grandkids and younger, just saying, do you remember the time when we all had to stay in our house? Very weird.
Right. I know. Yeah. I mean, and psychologically, it was kind of hard. I mean, I'm somebody that I tend to have some anxiety anyway, but so I was very worried about getting sick because of the stuff I was seeing about how it would, scar your lungs and affect. And I was like, I'm a singer. I do this for a living. I have asthma. I was terrified of getting sick because I didn't want it to permanently damage my ability to sing. And I was hearing these stories of people having to be on breathing machines and all this kind of stuff. So for me, that was, even after I had friends that felt safe going back out again and going and hanging out in public and stuff, I was like very, very careful for, like 2 years.
Yeah, no shit. Like that's your
Yeah.
life. Like
Yeah.
I don't particularly want to die. I was pretty happy staying indoors. So
Yeah.
I guess some people it affected. I'm sure there's people out there who it didn't really affect, but they just needed something to complain about. And that's okay too, because some people just
Yeah.
like to complain. That's all right.
Yeah.
So when it comes down to songwriting with you, do you have a particular process that you go through? Is it like, do you have moments of time where you're sporadically like writing a lot of stuff? Does it come from trauma or something that happens in your life that spurs you on? And when you're writing a song, is there a particular formula that you use? Where do you start?
I think a lot of my songs have been inspired by events in my own life, but I have also taken inspiration from movies and friends and different people's stories. The way I write, like I'll get little thoughts, like little lines in my head, or like a phrase or a couple of lines or an idea. So I'll have like notes app in my phone and I'll just start saving stuff in there, and I've got things saved. I just started compiling them in one place. and occasionally, you know, like with On the Outside, for example, that was one of the prompts from my writing group that I was part of at the
Oh,
time.
wow.
And the prompt was, we're in lockdown. Let's write a song about being outside. And that was what I came up with.
Beautiful.
And it's a little bit of a love song. It's a little bit reminiscent, and it's a little bit of everything, but it's one of my more upbeat, hopeful songs. And but yeah, so most of my songs came together in pieces. Like, I have a chunk of lyrics and I'm like, okay, I want to write a song out of this idea, and maybe I'll start to sit down, and or I have a melody in mind. And so I actually don't really have a method. It just depends on the song, whether it's I had a melody and a phrase, like a hook. Sometimes I get like a hook in my head and then I build a song around the hook, and then, you know, the chords come based on what the melody sounds like in my head. I'll just try to figure out what chords fit that, and then I'll build around it. Or sometimes I get a guitar lick in my head or some type of musical motif in my head, and I'll start building that, and then I'll be like, this kind of reminds me of these one particular lyrics, and I'll go back through my little bank of lyric fragments and ideas and say, okay, this mood kind of fits the vibe of that guitar lick, and just try to put them together that way and then flesh it out from there.
It's interesting you say that. Like, I know there's no particular mode that you follow all the time, but you can never discount it, you know, because sometimes people do have a particular formula that they follow.
Yeah, they
and
do.
and hell, if that works, that works. Don't let go of it. But I think for the
Yeah.
rest of us, it really is. I mean, that's the thing. Like, it's so hard to connect with music. Yeah, you never know what songs people are going to like. You never know what's
Yeah.
going to resonate with people, and most of the time, it is just honesty. The things that you've experienced, and they're the things that are going to resonate with people. Is it a common thing that you've got people who, your Mandalorians who follow you, who identify with what you write about? Is that what do you think the draw is to you? Do you think that what is the magic sauce that pull people to Mandy Prater? Do you
I
think?
don't know. Maybe you can ask them. I think for some people it definitely was something in my music that they resonated with, or the fact that maybe we share some common bands or musicians, like they like the covers that I do, or, you know, like I think some of that's true as well. Like some people have come in and said they really like my song selections, or they really like my voice, or, you know, but Towards Night says sincerity, question, kindness, and unquestionable talent. Thank you. I mean, I do feel like I try to bring authenticity to my performances, and to my hangout here online, you know, like I try to, what, you know, you see is pretty much me.
I can tell you
I'm
from my personal, because I'm a fan. All right, so it is, and I remember the first time I watched you perform. Firstly, it's the background. I see the background and just go, oh man, look at this background, folks. Not that background, this one. Look how inviting that is. And you've got this beautiful star
Thanks.
behind you. And it just looks like I feel welcomed on your live streams. So that's at first. I feel very welcome. And I feel like nothing's like forced. Like, I feel like I'm just watching a genuine person live streaming and dealing with the shit as it's happening.
Yeah.
It's not overproduced. So authentic is the word I'm
Yeah.
looking for.
I mean, I am pretty I've cobbled together, you know, when I started live streaming, I didn't know I was going to still be doing this 4 years later. I just thought maybe it was just a thing I would do while the pandemic was happening. I didn't expect it to take off or to have such a loyal and dedicated community, you know? So they're what kept me on Twitch, even after I had plenty of opportunities to go out and play live gigs again. And so, yeah, I mean, over time, I bought, you know, a better computer for streaming. I got a better camera, better, you know, interface, new guitars, you know, and different things. But it's kind of been cobbled together. I've had this same Rode mic since 2003 or two.
It's not about
you
the
know,
gear. It's not about the gear.
Yeah, you know, I mean, it's but yeah, like sometimes I'm a little scatterbrained, and some, you know, there's definitely human moments which the crowd also enjoys. You know, I mean, if you mess something up, like, it's like, oh, that was funny, or, you know, like I think the more times you fall on your face in front of people, the easier and less scary it gets too. You know what I mean? Like, you can make a bad mistake in a song or something, and I've forgotten my own lyrics to my most popular song that I've sung 500 times.
Yeah.
Because I'm also reading chat, and I'm also thinking about, is my reverb too loud, or all these different things, thoughts that are going through your head while you're also performing. And we just like make a clip out of it and laugh at it and, you know, move on most of the time. So.
Nice one. We've got a few other people who've joined us. See Mike Shana Music. Hello to you, Mike. I saw Leanie in here as well. I'm just making sure. Pausing Guitars. I'm not sure if I said hi to you. Just making sure if I've missed you during the show. I do apologize. I'm scrolling up and missing things I know all the time. But we're going to play another song now. And we've got 3 more songs to play before we get out of here today. Oh, and also, if you're a member, folks, of the channel, there are 2 Mandy Prater emojis in the chat that you can
That's so cool.
chuck around. So we'll put some up. There's one of them, and here's the other one. But you got to be a channel member. There you go. Boom. There's, and they float around. So she's got 2.
Awesome.
You got 2 of them, and they get revolved hither, tither, there, and there.
Neat.
Ed Zielinski says, "Hi Ed. By the way, you can tell when a musician is focused on engaging and connecting with their audience, and I feel it." Here, he feels it. Oh, what am I doing? Let's play this song. It's called Sucks to Be Me. And then we're going to talk about your recording process and how you get these tracks done. Make sure I'm definitely not doing the right thing. I'm not professional today.
These are nice, aren't they? Taking a screenshot of that. That's cool.
Alrighty, let's go. I can send you the emojis if you want them later. They work on Twitch as well. Every guest, every guest I have on gets an emoji.
Awesome.
And then I just cycle them around each week, kind of thing. For members, it's $1 to join as a member. Anyway, let's play this track. Stop advertising rubbish. Let's go. Mandy Prater, this is Sucks to Be Me. And once you hear this, you will know it doesn't suck to be you. Let's oj.
I've got no friends. I have split ends. I quit my band. I lost $5,000. It sucks to be me. Sucks to be me. It sucks to be me. Wouldn't want to be me. I wrecked my car. I smashed my guitar. My boyfriend's always high. I got no plans for the 4th of July. It sucks to be me. It sucks to be me. Sucks to be me.
Yeah. Does it still suck to be you?
That's a fun one.
How did that come about?
I actually wrote that song when I was a teenager, listening to a lot of Weezer
Awesome.
and Veruca Salt, so I've changed a few of the words since then for that version. That version was recorded like 10 years after I wrote the song, I think. But
Right.
so um yeah, it really did suck to be me. I had this friend. I used to hang out with these skateboarders in high school and cigarette smoking, like kind of jaded kids. And I had this one friend who, whenever anything bad would happen to one of us, he'd be like, "Sucks to be you." And so I kind of took that and, and, when I wrote it, it was kind of serious, but then when the music came about, it kind of turned into a party song. And I've had all different people of all different age groups and styles of music, even like a famous uh, classical organ player tell me that they thought it was a great song. And I was like, wow, this song is like has mass appeal. As long as you don't take it too seriously. Like I had this one lady that was a fan of my cover band, and she took my CD home and hadn't heard my original music before, and she came back and she's like, "That was depressing." Like, and I was like, you're not getting it then. I should have gave her $10 back, but I was just like, it's okay, you don't get it. Like, it's maybe not for everybody, but it is fun. It's kind of like a way to like say, okay, well, whatever happened to bring you down, is it that serious? Or can we kind of like just get over it, or but those were true grievances in the song.
Yeah, I can tell.
Yeah.
And it feels like I love these kind of songs that, like you said, it can be updated. Like you could do a version
Yeah.
on Twitch tomorrow and have had the worst day, and then just throw a whole bunch of stuff that's it's very cool like
Yeah.
that.
One time Lisa had a flat tire or something with her car. Her car somebody hit her car on the highway, or I forget which one it was, but she requested "Sucks to Be Me," and I just put her experience into the song. And like that's always kind of fun. I'm going to dedicate this to whoever's having a bad day today, and tell us what went wrong, and we'll put it in the song and exorcise our demons and whatever. But because who can still be upset after hearing a dueling kazoo solo?
Absolutely. Now, I was very excited over the kazoo solo. It did get me very excited. Now, you've got, let's get into talking about recording music and stuff, because you have a fair bit of music out here. So this is my Apple Music. Now, all of Mandy's music is available on all streaming services, like your Amazons, your Spotify, your Apple Music, but it's also available on Bandcamp as well. And, folks, Bandcamp Friday tomorrow. So if you've got money floating around, now would be the time to hit up Mandy tomorrow for Bandcamp Friday, and the artist gets most of the money. So that's if you've been holding off, remember to do that tomorrow. But you've got a heap of albums here. Going back from 2020 is your first single. It looks like, oh no, 2009 was this album.
Yeah, and that was what we just heard.
Yep. And all the rest, are these all singles or EPs?
Yeah, those are all singles after, the more recent ones. Yeah.
So you've got no excuse to go out and grab all of Mandy's music. But what I'm interested in is absolutely how you record this stuff. Is you got a little home set up there, or are you still going the old school way of hitting a recording studio?
A little bit different for each one. Like the one you just heard, and that whole album I played all the instruments and I recorded it in my apartment that I was living in at the time. So it was very, very DIY, $100 budget, $200 budget, whatever it was. And mixed it and produced it myself and did all the stuff. And had fun doing it. It was, very, very lo-fi kind of, but fun to get those songs down and recorded. And then
It's definitely got a grungier feel to it, which I like. You know,
Yeah.
for was that your first home studio recording?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, the first
Ooh,
thing
pretty
I
good.
recorded an EP in college, but we had someone else do the actual mixing and stuff. So that was kind of my first effort. And I did go to audio engineering school, and I did a little bit of freelancing after doing that. But I realized that still my real passion was to be a performer, and I wanted to be on the other side of the glass. So, but it did help me a lot in the industry as far as being able to talk to other, engineers and stuff that were working on my things. So, and I still, I use it now recording at home too. So
So
it's very valuable.
So the later recordings done in a studio, are you using the same kind of studio? Have you got a particular place you go to and go back to, or is it just each
Let's
time
see.
you find a new place?
Keep Calm, I recorded on my laptop and mixed that at home. That was totally done at home in like 2 days.
Yep.
And then On the Outside was the first time I hired someone to work on my stuff. And that one, I worked with this guy named Justin Richard. He's very talented. He also is a songwriter and musician, but really great producer. And we were really on the same wavelength about our my influences and how I wanted the sounds to sound. And so that I was really happy with how that came together. Co-producing and working on that with Justin. And then let's see, You're No Good For Me was done in a studio with Travis Hanna at Electric Platypus Records. Sometimes these are just people I meet along the way and we're like, let's try something. And so I went and recorded You're No Good For Me with him. And then Better was my first full band studio recording that I just recorded last year with the band Fingerpistol that I play with here in town. They came and we were recording some Fingerpistol songs, and I said, can I piggyback off of this session and do one or two of mine? And so we recorded a couple of mine as well, and Better is the first one to get released. But that has some great local Austin musicians on it that I also get the pleasure of performing with a couple times a month. So
wow, I had no idea
Yeah.
about Fingerpistol.
yeah.
Oh.
So it's a country band. We play original Americana, alt country, Bakersfield country type classic country tunes, and then also country covers ranging from old school stuff like Tammy Wynette and George Jones, like all the way up to newer bands like Turnpike Troubadours and some more modern stuff.
I want to play a bit of it. Is that okay?
Sure.
Let's throw this up here.
Oh, that's one of our last gigs.
Look at everyone dancing, having a good time.
Yeah.
I love that. Not that I've ever had the opportunity to have people dancing while I'm singing, because most of my bands have been metal bands, but I guess you can call slam dancing dancing. Wow, this is awesome. I'm going to put a bit more on. So our great moderator, Leela, has put the link in. So make sure you go and sign up to YouTube, Fingerpistol, official, at...
Thanks, Leela.
And Leela's been banging links in all night. And if you miss the links, if you're watching on the replay, all of Mandy's links are in the description, every single one of them. Bandcamp tomorrow, or the teddy bear gets it.
Yes, I'm gonna put some new merch bundles up there before tomorrow if I get time. So there will be some things available, new things available too.
Wicked, wicked, wicked. So do you have plans for recording in the future? Is there a bunch of songs you've kind of got under your belt or anything like that? How's that going?
Yes, I have several songs that have not yet been recorded that I really want to get done. I think it's kind of there's a little bit of a bottleneck of I just have trouble like finding sometimes like people that I vibe with to work with. Like I had this one producer reach out to me and say like, hey, I'll help you like record your stuff if you want. And we had a Zoom meeting and it just didn't feel like they really wanted to be like involved in working the process, you know, or anything. Like it was just like, well, if you know what you want, I have people that can play it, you know, and it just kind of didn't feel very collaborative. And I like to work with people that are willing to put in some time and work on the sounds and that kind of thing. So I have a few songs that have been recorded that are still in the process of getting mixed, and hopefully I'll get those out this year. And then I've got about another 5 or 10 songs that are not yet recorded that still need to be. So
that's a really good place to be in. So very exciting stuff. And look, I just want to put out there, hey, thank you all for being here today. We've been hovering around 40 people all day today. So
nice.
Thank you so much if you watch on the replay as well. To you. James Myers here, some people I've missed. I think I saw, who else? I saw Deep Gravity. I nearly called you Dead Gravity. What's going on? So thank you. If I've missed you and haven't called you out, just give me a holler, say, you missed me, write it in the chat, and I'll catch up. Now, I wasn't planning on playing that song before, so we got another one to play. Let's play this one. This is called That's Gonna Leave a Mark. This is from one of your live performances on Twitch, I do believe.
Yes.
So we'll get this one out the way, and then we can wrap up and talk about streaming and all that kind of stuff, because I'm always interested in streaming and all that. So let's do it, folks. You're ready to oge.
Right.
We're going to oge. That's going to leave a mark. Boom.
Is it this one? He shows too much affection when he's talking about forever was. And when I saw my reflection, I could tell he had a bit of a buzz. He's got ringers. He's got chalk white fingers as he tightens up his jaw. He sent me through the ringer, and I came out just a little bit raw, just a little bit raw, just a little bit raw. I came out just a little bit raw, just a little bit raw, just a little bit raw. I came out just a little bit raw.
There's that moment I'm talking about where there's no applause. You're just sitting there.
Yeah.
Where you going? I'm just in a room.
That was hard to get used to.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it was kind of like shifting from getting auditory and feedback to like getting feedback through the chat.
Yeah.
And when I went back to doing live gigs after only streaming for like a year, I was actually really nervous because I had gotten accustomed to constantly seeing comments
Yep.
throughout my songs and constantly seeing emojis getting thrown out and constantly seeing hearts getting thrown out whenever I started a song that somebody liked. And it was like I had to wait for 3.5 minutes to get any response live.
Yeah.
And it was weird. It was like backwards because at first, yeah, it was really weird playing to an empty room. And then suddenly it was weird not playing to a chat screen.
Yeah,
So-
like there's something to be said about it. Like it does mess with your brain somewhat. Like, you know, I've even done comedy here on this channel, and like, you think performing music's really hard? Doing comedy with no actual laughter response to know what's
No.
working, and you just got to look at the chat and
Yeah.
see, is anyone typing LOL? Is this funny? Like, you know, and you can try and put laugh tracks in, but like,
Right.
then it becomes the Addams Family, and
Right.
that show was never really funny. So there you go. That you've got a little bit of an insight there by that performance, because that's what you're going to get from a Mandy Prater Twitch stream. So how often do you stream on Twitch?
Typically, my regular in-studio streams are Monday afternoon, which is like a Europe, UK friendly time frame for us. And then Wednesday night and Saturday night. So those are my 3 main scheduled times. And then occasionally, if I'm playing a gig out and about and I can stream that, I'll do that as well.
And that's
So sometimes, yeah, so 3 to 4 times a week, mostly 3.
and that's like going out and performing live and streaming at the same time is a whole nother like set of things to worry
Yeah,
about.
it's a lot to keep track of, and I've had to like remind and just tell the online viewers sometimes, you know, it's not going to be like when I'm at home and I can constantly read chat and respond to every comment. So I try to have like an announcement come through my chat that says, you know, I'm glad you're here. You know, I can't constantly read everything, but thanks for watching. And, you know, because they're kind of more like a fly on the wall at those shows. And I try to, whenever I can see something happen online, I'll try to respond to it. But, you know, it's kind of tough because the people IRL are looking at you going, why does she keep looking at her phone every 5 seconds? You know, and to them, that's distracting to them. So it's a balancing, juggling act, like trying to do both. But, you know, once I got the feedback from the Twitch viewers and the YouTube viewers that they were having fun seeing those gigs, I was like, okay, well, I'll keep doing it as long as you guys don't mind that it's not the same as when we're at home, you know?
Yep. Yeah, and it really is a different world out live performing. I haven't performed in a band myself for ages because I just struggle these days with people. it's hard enough being in one relationship with a human being, let alone 5. But now I'm actually in a band, which sucks because I'm not allowed to talk about the band that I'm in because we're all anonymous in the band. But we've got our first 2 gigs coming up in October at a huge festival here. Our
Cool.
first gigs, so I've been with them for a year and we've never gigged. And our first 2 gigs are headlining the Melbourne Fringe Festival in October. And I'm so scared.
Oh my gosh.
Like, I've been,
That's really exciting though.
it is, but I've been on
Yeah.
stage my whole life, but this is something that I've never done before. It's a 13-piece band. It's very strange. I don't know how
Wow.
people are going to deal with it because it's like nothing I've ever seen, but I'm looking forward to it, but I know once I'm up there, it's going to be very odd not being in this room.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll take a
Yeah.
part of the room with me to help me feel like I'm back at home.
Yeah, because it's distracting when you're in a new place and you're trying to do what you're used to doing in a different spot. Like even, yeah, anytime I play a new venue, even if it's a low-key gig, you just feel a little off.
Yeah.
You know, like it's still outside of your comfort zone. And yeah, that's a good idea to like bring something to like anchor your reality back to your comfort zone a little bit.
I just
Yeah.
won't tell anyone in the band because they'll give me shit, obviously. But I've got my little anchor in my pocket.
Yeah.
So now you don't particularly live stream on YouTube, do you?
Not the same way. You know, I've kind of wanted to. I know that there's some people that'll stream to both at once, or, you know, like TikTok and Twitch and YouTube all at once, or you know, I just, it feels to me like it divides attention
I
a
agree.
bit. And so I'm not quite sure how I feel about it. I mean, I give a lot of attention to my Twitch viewers. And so I've been on Twitch streams where somebody also had other channels piping in, but you can't see, only they can see. And they'll start answering questions or responding to comments from TikTok or wherever else. And I mean, I understand the usefulness of it for sure. I'm just not quite sure for me if that might be too much for me to try to keep up with.
Oh, I'm in 100% agreement with that statement. I think you choose a platform and then just go hard at it. I think when you're trying to split it up amongst other platforms, I think people feel divided because they can't see comments that you're putting up on the screen because they're not in the chat. And and I think people are very well, these days they love to pick a side and they'll ride that side until like it's everything, politics, the whole lot. Everything is either black or white these days.
Yeah.
So most people who are on Twitch are on Twitch. Those people on YouTube are going to stay on YouTube. It's pretty hard to get them to jump to the other side, I think, anyway. But some people do well with it. So
yeah, I mean, I do stream my IRL gigs usually to YouTube as well. So some of our friends, our YouTube friends here, have tuned into to those you know, live gigs that I've streamed. And I know there are ways where you can combine the chats of different platforms and put it on your screen, you know, but I mean, I'd never say never for trying to do multiple streams, just it hasn't been something that I've really pursued yet.
And what you do here on YouTube is you do replays of your Twitch streams, is that right?
Yeah, that's mainly what I've been doing on YouTube is and the Mandalorians will come and you know, chat at the live premieres of the replays, and I've been doing the Throwback Thursdays, which are like old streams from like 3 years ago and stuff. So those are kind of fun because we haven't seen that in a long time, you know. So yeah, they'll come back together and chat. You know, sometimes it's just a 1-song clip, and sometimes I'll put up like a 3-hour stream video and just let it premiere and play that way, and just come in and chat and say hi to each other while it's on, you know.
Now, I've got to ask this question because the guitar aficionados will lose their minds if I don't. The guitars behind you, what's going on there? Which one's your favorite? Tell us the story of those lovable instruments behind you.
Oh, I would love to give you a little guitar tour. So starting up here, the acoustic, that is my first acoustic guitar. I don't really play it anymore, but I still keep it for sentimental purposes, and it's a good place to hang it on the wall. Then I've got my Gretsch Penguin, which is named Pearl.
That's a nice guitar.
She's a beautiful guitar. There's
Ooh.
there's some really fun details with the glitter binding, and the headstock is pretty fancy.
Oh, look at
And
that.
yeah, it's a fun little guitar. It's a jumbo parlor guitar,
Yeah.
a Gretsch Penguin, and I keep this tuned down half a step for those songs like Guns N' Roses that I just want to sing a little bit lower, or some Journey. So that's my E flat guitar that I keep tuned to E flat, and I use this when I perform with Fingerpistol as well.
Awesome. I love that you do that, because I have a whole bunch of guitars as well, and I have certain ones, like the 7 strings are all for death metal. The other ones, they're for specific genres. But continue on, please.
Yeah, I've just found that it's the strings don't seem to like it when you tune that far up and down a lot, and it's
True.
time consuming. So I just decided to do that. I've got a little Washburn Rover that's
Oh, wow.
people think this is a ukulele, but it's actually a travel guitar. It's like almost a full scale neck.
Wow, look
and
at
it's
that.
and it's just, it doesn't sound very good,
No, smaller bodies like that never do. Yeah.
but it was great to like take on a vacation when I needed to learn, a whole bunch of songs for a performance or something. And I couldn't afford to like not have a guitar with me.
I totally get that. I've got one here, this little black thing.
Oh, that's nice. Is that one of those carbon fiber?
Yeah.
Oh,
Carbon
those are
fiber.
great.
And it's so small. I got this just to
Yeah.
take to the beach, just to,
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds terrible, but it sounds, for the beach, it's going to obviously
Oh
be
yeah, it's
all right,
fine. I mean, and again, like you don't that's the thing about this is my main acoustic guitar. It's a PRS Angelus,
Now look at
Paul Reed
that,
Smith
baby.
guitar. And this is another one. I really love some of the details on it. It's got a curly maple binding, and it's got a Ziracote back with a abalone little strip down the middle. It's just a really, besides being beautiful, I just love how it sounds. I tried out dozens of guitars, and I really liked how it sounded acoustically and plugged in. So this is my daily main guitar that I use most of the time for my live streams and for my solo gigs. And then that bass up there, the white one, that's got some fun stories behind it. That was my first bass, and I played in that heavy grunge band in high school. So it probably still reeks of stale cigarettes, and the strings are from the 1900s.
Nice. You can boil them. Just boil them up. They'll be right.
Yeah, but it kind of had a little bit of some electronic issues, and it was only like $100 bass when I got it, so I didn't get it repaired. But I got this one as a very generous gift from my Twitch community member. This is an Epiphone,
Look
like
at
a
that.
Beetle bass, and
Yeah.
I really love it. It's fun to play. It's got a nice sound, and kind of that classic Beatles look, which is fun. So I use this on my live streams.
It looks light too. Is it?
Yeah, it's not bad. I think because the body's a little smaller, that helps. It's not too thick,
The worst thing about basses, they get very heavy after a while.
Yeah. So yeah. Oh, and then I have one more off camera here.
Oh yes.
Oh wait, I didn't show you Angie.
Oh, Angie.
This is Angie, my Angie. Yeah, that's one of the reasons she's named Angie, is I love that song. But the Rolling Stones song. But this is my Gibson SG Faded Cherry. So I was playing this in that video that we just watched from Twitch. So it's fun to pull that one out. And
you have a nice collection of guitars.
Thank you. I've been collecting them for a while. I can't get rid of anything.
No,
like
I can't
have
either.
in the closet, because I ran out of room on my wall. In the closet is my original guitar that I got when I was for my 14th birthday. I still have my electric guitar. Um, it's got stickers all over it, and but that was, it's just I'm saving it so it can go in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame one day.
Love it.
Yeah.
So we are almost at the end of the show. We've got one more song to play. I want to thank you for spending some time with me and all my peeps over here and bringing all your wonderful Mandalorians over as well.
Yeah.
Feel free to stay around Mandalorians if you like this kind of content as well. So what do you see in your little Mandy Prater crystal ball for the coming year for you? What do you hope
for the coming
to
year.
happen?
That's good. I like 1 year. 5-year plans, I have no idea. But
we can't do that. Not with today's
yeah.
world.
Well, like I said, I've got, we're working better on the radio right now. It was number 30 on the Texas Internet Radio chart, and it was in the top 100, or is currently in the top 100 of the Texas Country Music Radio chart. So we'll be working that with radio and just promoting it. And then I've got 3 or 4 more songs that are in multiple various stages of doneness, but have been recorded at least, that I would love to get out in the next year. So some of the fan favorites and some of my favorites that haven't been released before. So that's my big thing, as well as I'm playing at a music festival in June in Denver called the Altitude Fest. So that's fun. I plan on doing a little more traveling possibly throughout the year, doing some more fun shows possibly. So we'll see what's happening. But I am kind of in a mode of like, it's time to finally get more of my songs recorded and released. So that's kind of one of my main goals.
I'm guessing, trying to look this up now. I think I'm in the right place. Is this it? The Altitude Music Festival? No. Oh, that's
I
2017.
don't think so.
That's 2017.
Yeah.
I was doing my best to find it, but
April
it's 20.
There
it
is
is that it? April 20?
It's June
sorry.
June 28th and 29th.
See if I can put that in.
Let me see. I might be able to find it. I know we have a
Altitude. Altitude. Here it is. Well, here's
they
some
do have a
information.
website. I'm trying to find my chat here.
I think people will be able to find it. So Altitude, it says it here, June 14. Is that right?
It's June 28th.
June 28th.
I can't find. I'm looking to see if I can find the link for you.
Oh, here we go.
Altitude Sessions. I'm sorry. Altitude Sessions.
Let's try that. If I can spell sessions. There we go. We'll find it now. Altitude Sessions by Loudly Inclusive.
Yes.
Is that it there? Bring it up just so people know there.
Yeah, tickets are available, and
boom. All right.
There was a Kickstarter.
Yes, that was the Kickstarter I had just there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kickstarter, boom. So if you're out this way, get your ass over there and go and check out Mandy live, or get over to Twitch. Make sure you get over to Twitch. Plenty of links in the description. Do all that fancy jazz. Go and support her, because as you see, she's absolutely amazing. And not just, I remember when I first heard you, I was like, is she just a country singer? And then I went through your stuff. I'm like, God damn, alternative. You are very broad in your style. So I love that. And
it's a blessing and a curse. It's really hard. My guy who promotes me to radio is like, what are you? What do I tell them you are? I'm like, I don't know. I'm just me, I guess. Like, it's like, what genre are you? I'm like, I don't freaking know. Like,
wow.
I'm willing to take suggestions, but yeah, it's hard.
Well, here on this channel, we don't care what you want to call yourself. We think you're a rock star. We think you're awesome. So
Thank you so much.
the last question I ask everybody on this interview show, it's a really hard question and it's going to probably ruin your life. No, it's not. If somebody was considering becoming creative, writing music, doing something, whatever, when do you think would be the best time for them to start?
Whenever they're inspired, I would say I wish I had started younger and learned more music theory when I was a kid and all that kind of stuff. But, I also was in a band called the Misses with some women who decided to pick up music in their late 30s after they had kids, and they were inspired to do it then, and they found it fulfilling. And, I think that there's all different kinds of ways to have fulfillment and fun through creativity. And it maybe can't always be a job and a career for everyone, but I think that anybody can do it if they find it fun.
Absolutely. Just do it and have fun.
Yeah.
We're going to close today's show with your latest track called Better. It is your latest one? Yes.
Yes.
And
just came out last month.
We had a toss-up whether we're going to play the lyric video or we're going to play the live performance. And the thing is, here's the deal. I'd always want to play the video on this show, because it's recorded and there's been a lot of time put into it. But here's the deal. Mandy's voice is so on point. It's like listening to the album, hearing her perform live. So that's what you're getting today. We're getting the live performance. It is basically like listening to the live performance because she's mint on the vocals. So,
and
yes,
this can encourage anyone who hasn't heard the recorded final version to go check it out after the show here.
Absolutely. Go and buy it on Bandcamp
tomorrow.
Yes,
buy it on Bandcamp. Yeah.
Put some coinage in Mandy's pockets and help her out there. So this is a fantastic song. Every time I hear it, it's so weird. I've heard this song probably about 20 times now, and every time I hear it, I just feel this is your song. You know how some artists just finally, they hit this song that is just, and then you get identified by that song, and every time I hear it, I just think, Mandy Prater. So,
cool!
I love this.
I love it
because you can never pick what song people end up liking. It's so bizarre. Most of the time, people pick the song that you don't like.
Yeah, that was one thing I was surprised about with my Twitch fans. I had at the time I had maybe a dozen of my original songs on the song list, and I could ask somebody, "What are your favorite?" And they would all give a different answer. And I was surprised because I felt like there were a few that were better, but everybody connects with something different. So I guess that's one good reason to have a diverse sound. People have something they can latch onto.
Because believe it or not, we're all kind of different, even though people want us to all be the same for some reason and all go down one path. No, we can't. We've got feelings.
Yeah.
We bleed.
Yeah.
We shit. We do all those things. We're all unique, but we all have bodily functions that work the same. That's my theory anyway. So this is Better. I want to thank DistroKid again for sponsoring the show. Mandy for coming on. All of you wonderful folks here in the live chat, and if you're watching on the replay, thank you for that also.
Yes, thank you, everyone.
Anything you'd like to say before we bing out of here?
Thank you so much for having me. It's been great chatting with you. Really, really fun show. I look forward to catching future shows of yours. And thanks to everybody who came and watched and who's watching. And please follow me online. Come check out one of my Twitch streams sometime or check out my Bandcamp. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out.
Do it. All right, let's go. This is Better. Remember, folks, do the things that make you happy. Mistakes make you better. And we'll all rise together. Stay awake, not woke. Stay awake. And let's Oj. This is Better.
I can see how this is gonna go wrong. I can see that I should probably move along, even though This is all I've ever had. You make me wanna be better. He makes me wanna be bad. Back in the day, when I was no more than a child, you had to know that I would end up running wild. And I know you gave it everything you had. You make me wanna be better. He makes me wanna be bad. You can hate that I'm wasting your time. Just don't hate me because you're all mine. While you hold on to me tight, there's a broken toy, little boy, that I can't bring into the light. You can hate that I'm wasting your time. Just don't hate me because you're all mine. While you hold on to me tight, there's a broken toy, little boy, that I can't bring into the light. I said before